Welcome to or welcome back to Uncommon Peasant, where we talk about all things Peasant Cube and just uncommons in general. Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 uncommon cards from the Hobbit set. But before we dive into that, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, share it with a friend, all that usual YouTube stuff. But let's get into the video. Number 10 is going to be Troop of Ponies, 2 mana for a 2/1, where you can pay 2 and tap it, sack it, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put one on the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand, then shuffle. This is a great version of this effect. We've kind of seen it before in Burnished Heart, but it's 1 mana cheaper to cast and 1 mana cheaper to activate at the cost of needing to tap it. And the effect essentially is a cultivate, whereas before it was an explosive vegetation. Ultimately, I think these changes make it a lot better than Burnished Heart, and we've already seen that Burnished Heart is a pretty good card and sees a lot of home in ramp decks and fixing and such. And I think Troop of Ponies is just going to be a much better Burnished Heart. It's going to be great in Peasant Cube. It's going to allow for fixing in colors that don't usually get it, for ramp, and just all around help a lot of those decks smooth out their curve, as well as just being a 2 mana 2/1 that can get in for damage and do what you need it to do. Next up at number 9, we have Large Bear, a 5 mana, 5/5 with Reach, Trample, and Haste. It's pretty simple. It's a big beater, big body, a lot of stats, a lot of abilities, and we've kind of seen this effect before in Charging Monstrosaur from Ixalan, which at that point was a 5 mana 5/5 Trample Haste. This is a lot better than that. That Reach does a lot of heavy lifting here, allowing to block those flyers, giving a lot of versatility, and the green-black hybrid means it can be played in both green or black decks, or a green-black deck, giving it all that more flexibility in draft, and just a lot of uses in Peasant Cube. It's a simple but strong effect. Next up at number 8, we have Bothersome Noisemaker, 2 mana 2/2 Goblin, that whenever you cast an on-creature spell, you amass Goblins 1, which means you put a +1 counter on an army you control. It's also a Goblin, and if you don't control an army, you first create a 0/0 Black Goblin Army creature token, and then put the counter on it. This effect is fairly similar to Young Pyromancer, which is a fantastic card that's seen play in a lot of different formats and is great in Peasant Cube as well. I think this is a nice side grade to it. It has a lot of bonuses that Young Pyromancer doesn't have. It does lack in a few ways, though, in that it goes tall instead of going wide. But making Goblin means it does synergize with those Goblin synergies if you happen to run that in your cube. And being a +1 counter instead of another token means it synergizes with those counter effects. Makes some interesting different strategy you can do with that. And I think all around a great card that's a great addition for spells, goblins, and anything else that can use this card. I love it. Next at number 7, we have Lighttown Mariners, a 6 mana 6/5 Vigilance Ward 2, and it has a 4 mana instant adventure called Gone Fishin', where you exile 2 target creatures and/or land you control, then return to the battlefield under their owner's control. This is a fantastic card. Its adventure is essentially a ghostly flicker for 1 more mana, which again has seen a ton of play in a lot of different formats, like our aforementioned cards. It's really versatile, lets you reuse those ETB effects, and by allowing you to bounce lands, means it can be used in landfall decks as well, giving it a lot of versatility in where it can be played. And at the end of the day, a 6 mana 6/5 Vigilance Ward 2 is a nice big beater. It has built-in protection. The Vigilance means it's going to attack, it's going to block, it's just going to do a lot of damage, and it's going to be a great card for your top end. Next, at number 6, we have Golem the Abandoned, a 2 mana 2/2 that can't block, and when he enters, you exile up to 1 target card from an opponent's graveyard. Each opponent loses 2 life, and you have the option to pay 2, sack an artifact or creature, and return it from your graveyard to your hand at sorcery speed. This card is really good. First of all, it's graveyard hate, which is always nice to have in your deck to help fight those graveyard strategies, but that repeatable 2 damage over and over from its ETB effect is great, as you can recur itself, or you could even flicker it, and that 2 damage really adds up fast. It was great at the pre-release. I've seen it be really good in draft, and I think it's equally going to be really good in Peasant Cube. It's great to help support those aristocrat strategies, more death triggers and sacrifice, more pinging in for damage like Zulaport Cutthroat does. If your cube isn't singleton and runs multiples, I do think Golem is great in pairs or multiples because they can sack each other, recur each other, and just keep dinging for 2 damage over and over. As a singleton card, it's great as well. You get rid of some little chump tokens, little tchotchke artifacts, things you don't need, and just recur it, get it back, do that damage, exile those cards. It's great. I love it. Next up at number 5, we have Nasty Little Rabbit. Probably the funniest named card in the set, or at least one of them. But it's a 1 mana 1/2 with Ferocious. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, put a +1 counter on this creature. Ferocious is great. It's already a supported strategy in Peasant Cube, and this is a fantastic piece for that. It carries auras and equipment well, in that it can eventually trigger itself if it itself has power 4 or greater. And of course, in other +1 counter strategies, it's going to be great because it's going to be a beater that just grows over time, gets more counters, synergizes with those +1 counter strategies. And again, if you put +1 counters on it through other means, it's eventually going to trigger itself. Just all around, a lot of value for 1 mana. It's wonderful. We love this little rabbit. Next up at number 4, we have Iron Hills Blacksmith, a 2 mana 1/1 double strike. And when he enters, you create a colorless equipment artifact token named Axe, with equipped creature gets +1/+0 and equip 2. At base level, this is a strictly better Fencing Ace. Fencing Ace was a great card back in Return to Ravnica, and this is just so much better than it. At that base level, 2 mana 1/1 double strike is a good rate, but also coming with its own artifact equipment that you can then equip to it for 2 means it's essentially a 4 mana 2/1 double strike, which is still on rate for 4 damage for 4 mana, but leaving behind that artifact even when it dies is great too, and that you can equip it to your other creatures, buff them up, have synergies with other artifact effects, and just it passes the rectangle theory of 2 mana for 2 permanents. Great card all around. I've already put it in my cube. I love it. Next up, at number 3, I have Thorn Oakenshield, 2 mana 3/2 Trampler. With Storied, if you control 3 or more artifacts, legendaries, and or sagas, you have an enduring story for the rest of the game. And as long as you have an enduring story, artifacts and creatures you control have Ward 1. This is a fantastic card. At base level, a 2 mana 3/2 Trampler is right on rate what we want in white-red aggressive decks, and that Storied effect, giving Ward 1 to all of your stuff, is very reminiscent of Unsettled Mariner. It's really good protection, makes all of your stuff annoying to deal with and get rid of for your opponent. And honestly, Storied isn't that hard to trigger these days. We have a lot of ways to get a lot of little artifact tokens that, add to that story to trigger it easily, like Servo Exhibition here. Or they're printing more and more legendary creatures every day, and so you're gonna reasonably have a lot of legendary creatures in your Peasant Cube, like Leonardo here. A nice 1-drop 2/1 that's just a base rate is great, but triggering that story, just having other legendary creatures is going to add extra value. Easy to trigger, right on curve what you need. 3/2 protects your board. It's fantastic. Next up at number 2, we have Thranduil Sindarin Liege, a 4 mana 2/3 with other elves you control get +1/+1. And landfall, whenever a land you control enters, create a 1/1 green elf creature token. And then it has an adventure sorcery for 3 mana called Sylvan Rally of mill 4 cards, then put up to 2 land cards from among them into your hand. This is a fantastic card on both ends. The adventure is basically a 1 mana more expensive mulch, and kind of a divination in a way, letting you 3 mana basically draw 2. Means you're going to hit your land drops, you're going to fill up your graveyard a little bit, which has synergies with graveyard decks. Wonderful effect. And then of course you get to play Thranduil later in the game, and his effect is, it's an even cheaper Zendikar Royal. You're repeatedly going to get 2/2 elves because he buffs them, effectively making it like a 4 mana 4/5 just from base level with stats, plus if you make a land drop. And then also synergizing with other elves. There are a lot of elves in general in Cube and in Magic's history, and a lot of really good ones that you're probably already playing, means that they're going to incidentally get buffed as well and play well with that. I love this card. I've already built it in Commander as well. It's incredibly powerful for an uncommon, and I think you should definitely be running it in your Peasant Cube. And finally, our number 1 card is Bofer Reliable Guardian, a 1 mana 1/1 lifelink with a 2 mana instant adventure of target artifact or creature you control gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. This is a fantastic card. It kind of is like a 1-use Mother of Runes, protecting one of your things on board for some cheap white mana effects. It's a great way to protect your creature from a kill spell, use it as a combat trick, whatever you need to do with that. It's wonderful. It's right on rate for what we want. And that 1/1 lifelinker is going to synergize well with your, life gain payoffs, like Johnny's Pridemate, other life gain effects in Cube, and just generally being a 1 mana 1/1 lifelinker is right on rate. It's fantastic. Having that protection spell is wonderful. Fits into a lot of different strategies and archetypes. Wonderfully designed card. I love it. I've already put it in my cube, and I think you should put it in yours. But this has been our top 10 Hobbit cards, top 10 uncommons from the Hobbit set. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. And we will see you next time on Uncommon Peasant.